All right, let's get it started with the Road to WrestleMania segment. Uh, Raw was very much the Becky Lynch show again, which I think is the right thing to do because she is the 2019 version of Stone Cold Steve Austin, though I would say the booking was a lot simpler back then as far as what they are doing with what they were doing with Austin. Becky Lynch is in tons of convoluted storylines and stuff that's going on that probably doesn't need to be part of it. But I mean, the fact of the matter is they still have 2.5 months until WrestleMania, so they got to fill 5 hours of TV time every week with this stuff.
Yeah, it's just like it feels so far away still, and then they got a lot to go to do, and what they're gonna do with these every Monday and Tuesday night with this stuff is going to be very, very interesting. By the time we get to WrestleMania, it's like, who cares? It might be at that point.
Well, I mean, that's the worst thing, right? Is that they peak too early, and then come WrestleMania, fans aren't as excited. Like, that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that happen. I know there's Fastlane, and I'm sure there's probably going to be some kind of Becky versus Charlotte match on there. I think is going to happen. So it should be interesting if they can keep it going. But I don't know, man. Just this angle on Monday just really fell flat for me.
Okay, so let's actually talk about it. And we saw the holes with the angle last week, which we talked about on our midweek show. We actually came back with a second show to kind of talk about my trip to Vegas and pick up on the stuff that we didn't get to talk about on the midweek show. But one of the issues that we both thought was, having Stephanie and Triple H involved, in some instances, I think was positive, but in others was also negative. And so they had to continue those storylines and also add to the end Uncle Milty. I mean Vince McMahon. He kind of closed the show with his stuff, and we'll get to it. But so there, it's basically become Becky and Rhonda and Charlotte and the McMahons at the same time. So it's not, we can't just let these three women kind of dominate. They need foes and they need, other stuff going on. And the way to do it is to add Vince and Stephanie and Triple H. I think they should just bring back Linda for this one. We need 5 McMahons here to run this show.
Yeah, each one needs to have their own person in the match, Vince has Charlotte, Triple H has Rhonda, Stephanie's gonna have Asuka, Shane's gonna have Becky. That's what they need to do.
Just like WrestleMania, what was it?
2000.
Yeah, WrestleMania 16, a McMahon in every corner.
I know. It's like, give me a break. I just don't like this. I mean, I don't mind the McMahons honestly, but like, they have to, every time it's like a major. Like the big program, they have to be involved, and there's just no need for them to be involved. I mean, I think they could have had a more creative way to get Charlotte into this match. They didn't need to have just, what happened at the end of Raw.
So, I was writing some things down when I was watching Raw, and I wrote them down as dumb things numbers 1 through 4. And I even mentioned this last week and the week before. I'm going to be really nitpicky at this stuff because this is their main thing, right? Like, this is what their best creative should be on. So, we already nitpicked Becky wearing the knee brace on the outside of her pants and her jumping down from the apron, and no one with a bad knee would ever do that. So, dumb thing number 1 from Raw this week. So, we both thought that Becky was pretty dumb to not want to go to the doctor. So dumb that after all we went through last week, she just went to her own doctor anyways, and the McMahons were like, "Oh, like you're cleared. Like, we talked to your doctor. You're fine." All that last week.
Yep, Dr. Kevorkian and Dr. Stan Conti got together and they talked about it, I guess.
So they basically tell her that she has to, or that she's cleared, and the only thing she has to do is apologize. And they apologize to her, so she has to apologize to them. So now I'm thinking, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, 2.4 million buys. Floyd Mayweather called Oscar Chicken De La Hoya. And, the whole fight was based on, Oscar was the draw at that point. Like, imagine if Oscar was like, you know what, I'm pulling out of this fight unless you apologize to me. This money match, you have to apologize or else I'm just not doing it.
I mean, that's what drives me nuts. It's like, it's pro wrestling. It's combat sports, right? And these people were talking about apologies on a 3-hour show, a whole show storyline. Is she going to apologize? Then you have smiley face Finn Balor. You should do it. It's like it was just like the worst, man. I'm watching this and I'm just like, man, this is not how you book a tough, badass babyface. You don't have her sitting there sulking in the catacombs of the arena, with her head down, debating she should apologize. And then you have Finn Balor going out there and Mr. Second Place and, happy to be second place, goes over there and just like, I think you should do it, might as well just do it. That's just like, it was just, this is, how many writers they have, and this is what they came up with. I mean, come on, there has to be something better than this.
Yeah. So she's so distrustful of them that she would not go to the doctor. Like, it was like mind-boggling for her to go to the doctor because she's so fearful that they just want to take this match away from her so badly. So this week, she's like, I guess those are the stipulations, and so I got to think about this for the whole show. And so dumb thing that would have been dumb, that was dumb thing number 2. Dumb thing number 3, Rhonda, I don't know, what was it, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, cuts this passionate promo on Becky, basically saying, if this were real, I would kill you. Without saying it like that, but that's basically what she said on Raw during the promo. And this week, she's saying, come on, Becky, you got to be smart about this. We're trying to make history here. I thought you were trying to kill this woman, and now you're trying to make history, and that's the reason why you want Becky to apologize.
Yeah, that's definitely WWE writers' lingo, right? Making history, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I know Rhonda, definitely needs some coaching in her promos, but like, give her stuff that she would really, really say. Give her stuff like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna destroy you, I'm gonna break your arm. You're in over your head, or something like that. Just let her be Rhonda. Rhonda shit talking Rhonda.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that you could say is, if you're Rhonda, you're like, look, no women have ever main evented WrestleMania. I know that means a lot to you. It doesn't mean as much to me. I just want to kick your ass, but I know that means a lot to you. And, do the right thing. They could have said that, and that would have been so much better. So, dumb thing number 4 is Milton Berle reincarnated as Vince McMahon. I don't know what the heck he was wearing. It just reminded me of Milton Berle for whatever reason. Suspends Becky for 60 days. Okay. Becky was suspended last week, and she just showed up on SmackDown the next day. So are we supposed to believe that suspensions matter? Like, just because Vince did it instead of Triple H, it actually means something? Like, I was highly confused.
Yeah, that was pretty weak. Pretty weak excuse to try to get her out, quote unquote, out of the match. I did not like how they introduced Charlotte. I mean, it's fine that I mean, I don't mind it that Vince introduced her. That was fine. It's just they didn't give her a chance to say anything. Mm-hmm. They just went off the air. It's just her smiling. And I think there needed to be some more. There needed to be some time for her to say something to Ronda and Becky.
So it leads to this head-to-head battle between Vince McMahon and Becky Lynch. Now, I just mentioned 4 really dumb things that I didn't like, but at the end of the day, if Becky puts Vince in the disarmor, and the only way she lets him go is if he says, "Okay, you're back in the match. Stop killing me," then I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. It's just so convoluted to get to that position. That it's kind of, it's just a waste of like, it's almost like, so I'll call back to the interview that me and Big Dave did with Kenny Omega, because he said this, I'm not making this up, I'm not like, not that I heard it, anything. He said this directly to us, which was, I thought about going to WWE and turning my brain off and letting them just write my stuff. Like, that was an actual quote that he said. And as a fan, in order to go along with this stuff, that's kind of what you have to do as well. So it's not only the wrestlers who, kind of just have to deal with some of this verbiage, but as a fan too, because I'm watching this and I'm studying this because I know I'm gonna have to talk about it a couple different times, and I'm like, okay, I want to make sure that I'm really in tune with what's going on. But the only way that I'm not getting frustrated is if I just don't care, or if I just don't pay attention, or if I just turn my brain off. So I get that part of it, but it still is a frustrating watch, considering this is the hottest thing going, in WWE.
I just think they could have had an easier way to get Charlotte into the match. I just don't understand how this came up.
The easiest way would have had her win the Royal Rumble.
True. Or a tie at the Rumble would have been. I mean, I know it's hard to pull off, and it doesn't really work out, well. But Charlotte could just be Charlotte and be a heel, and claim that Becky is a fad, and Becky is not. Becky's doing stuff, saying stuff, not being who she is, not being the real. I know the real Becky, and she can't handle this. I'm the number one woman here. I'm the one that can beat Ronda for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. It's just talking trash, and finally Becky, puts up her shot at Mania line against Charlotte, and something happens where Charlotte maybe pulls off the victory in some kind of controversial fashion, and then Becky ends up back in it somehow with some babyface move by maybe Vince McMahon instead of a heel move. Puts Becky in, or Becky does something to get back in, and then they have the 3-way. I don't think you need the McMahons, honestly. You can figure it out a way to do it without it.
Charlotte did cut that promo on Smackdown, and I thought it was great. But I get what you're saying, is that would be a way to get into the match instead of already being in the match and then cutting the promo then. But I was trying to think back. Now, I don't remember tons of memorable NXT promos. And I remember some really bad WWE ones when they would put her in the main event, and she's, and then that she's like killing her dad and turning on her dad. Like, I thought those were really bad. But this was great. I really liked her opening promo. It's almost like she embraced the character. And her social media game is on fire right now as well. On Twitter, she's just going back and forth with these dudes who are like killing her. But I was like, man, she's money. Like if you need any reason to know why she's in this match, like that was it right there.
Yeah, definitely. And that promo was really good because Charlotte's a really good promo, and and each year she just gets to get better and better. I mean, she has her character down. She knows who she is. She's very confident out there. I believe in her. I believe her character that she's portraying. I just don't understand why they had to go this route, man. I'd like to figure it out. Like, I would like to maybe if I had time to sit down and graph my own like storyline, how to get Charlotte in there. And I think also they want Charlotte in there too, not just to be the conduit in the match to kind of keep things going and flowing, but also they really don't want Ronda to be booed too much. I think they want the heel heat all to be on Charlotte and take away. But unfortunately, Ronda's just going to be booed. She's going to be in that role. She needs to accept that and go with it and just be her.
Yep.
And just go with the fact that she's going to beat Becky's ass. She's going to beat Charlotte's ass. She doesn't care if they're being cheered or booed. I'm just here. I'm the champion. I'm going to walk out, the world champion at the end of WrestleMania.
So what's I've been having, and I don't want to say they're arguments. There's just sort of like debates about what's going on. Like WWE really has the fans in this case eating out of their hands. Like,
yeah,
you see online how many fans really believe that like Charlotte is Vince McMahon's choice, and that somehow, some way, he's going to take away what they want, which is Becky to win. And so, but the reality of the situation is if Vince has a hand-picked choice, it's Becky. It's not Charlotte. Like, I don't understand how the fan base can be so dense about that. I mean, and maybe this is just good storytelling. Maybe this is actually what they do best, is to get their fans all paranoid about getting screwed. But I mean, I guess it has happened historically time and time and time again. But yeah, I mean, the fans are just like so paranoid that they're not going to get what they want.
Yeah, Becky's going to beat Ronda in the match. She's not going to beat Charlotte because you want to set something up future for her, right? Out of WrestleMania. So Becky's going to have her hand raised. She's going to win the championship. Her next challenger is going to be Charlotte. We'll be good. She'll be fine. There'll be a big happy ending at the end, just like they did with Daniel Bryan, when he beat Triple H in the opener and ended up winning the title in the main event later that night. It's going to be like basically the same story and told just a little bit differently, but you're going to have the same outcome, right? That the fans, the people that they wanted to be champions, finally going to do it, and Becky's going to do it.
Yeah, she's going to do it. And you mentioned that WrestleMania 30 storyline, like that could have been a way, like Charlotte wins the Royal Rumble, right? And so it's Charlotte and Ronda as the advertised match, but everyone wants Becky in, and they're like, okay, well, you have to face Asuka in the first match on the show, and winner gets put in the main event at the end of the show, and that could have been one way that they could have did it.
Yeah, that's you could do that too. I mean, there's so many different ways. It's just this way of her, like, just having to hear her debate if she's going to apologize for a whole damn show. Just, oh my God, it was such a struggle to get through those 3 hours just with that, it's just stupid.
So what did you think about Seth Rollins' promo? Because he's either trying to trick us in some way, or they are laying they're laying some story down that may pay off, but he sure as hell sounded like he is in a lot of pain.
Well, yeah, he's not wrestling. He's off the house shows, right? If I believe so. He's off Elimination Chamber.
He's off Elimination Chamber.
So, yeah, he's probably in really bad shape. So they definitely want to give him the time to heal up so he can be ready for WrestleMania, because I don't think they really want to go through a whole rewrite and all that, So I think he's banged up. I think, they're confident that he'll be ready for WrestleMania, and he's going to do all he can to be ready for WrestleMania because that's just a big payday, and he doesn't want to miss out. And as of now, I believe he's scheduled to win the title from Brock Lesnar. I mean, that could always change with negotiations with Brock, or Vince wanting to hold something off to trick the fans, or push it back to have it happen at a pay-per-view later. So, I mean, there's a lot going on. So, yeah, he's definitely feeling. I hope we don't get damn Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins promos for weeks and weeks build up because that's not gonna be any fun either. I mean, not Paul's a great promo and Seth's good too. It's just they're gonna have to do something other than these damn promos. Well, I still say they should go back to some Rock versus Brock stuff with the training videos and all that. Like maybe you do that with Seth while he's on the mend, and same with Brock.
The thing that I wonder is Seth has in his singles run post Shield has been often injured, and Vince, in order to be a Vince top guy, you have to be very durable. Like, think of how durable John Cena was. Like he had a neck injury at some point, and but he was always coming back like really quickly. Mm-hmm. Triple H, he's had some pretty big injuries as well, but those actually helped sort of build him back up. But someone like Seth, who seems to get dinged up, I kind of worry about what Vince thinks about him as a long-term, guy.
I think he's with Seth. I think he's really behind him. I worry about Seth's, longevity because, that knee is, was pretty messed up. So, I mean, knee injuries are known to come back, and haunt people, as you know, right? You still feel your knee injury. So, this guy's doing 3 topes a match.
I know.
And I don't even know what surgery had. I don't. Maybe he has like kind of like Hunter Pence had. Like he's like down like 3 ligaments that he had. Now he's down to 2. That I remember that. I was wondering if he had something like that too, where it's like, hey, one more of these. It could be toast. So I hope not. I mean, I like Seth, and I think they need this to be a great match. They need they need someone to get hot again. And I don't know if Seth can ever get as hot as he was in 2015 right after WrestleMania, but we'll see if he can. If they go hot, I'm sure they're gonna have a great match, right? I'm actually looking forward to that match. I think it'll be good. People probably be like, it's gonna be another same Brock Lesnar match. Suplex people, and then they'll be like, oh, that was really good at the end of it because they all are really good matches that Brock has. He's had some interesting ones, but like. For the most part, man, he's delivered.
Just like Daniel Bryan says, they're fickle.
True.
So what did you think of Dean Ambrose's babyface turn right in front of everybody on Raw?
Crap. I don't know. It's like, and I was more upset that he beat EC3 because the whole like quote unquote 50-50 booking. It's like I mean, it's like you got a guy like EC3. He's a new face. The company damn sure needs some new faces to get over, and then all of a sudden he's losing his second match on Raw. So I was just rolled my eyes at that. So yeah, Dean's a babyface being goofy again. I guess on his way out he'll get that role if he really does leave, unless he can this is all bullshit, or he signs a new contract, or who knows. I mean, either way, I don't really care. Dean, like I said before, like I just don't never really got behind him. Did a little bit early on the Shield, like he was really starting to stand out. But as he evolved, I just couldn't get into his style of wrestling and the look. It's just like the jeans and tank top look. It's just not one of my favorites.
Yeah, you can only hit the middle rope and come off and hit a clothesline so many times. Okay, so the gauntlet match that they had on Smackdown, which was to set up not even the order in the Elimination Chamber, is basically just to see who gets the last spot. Mm-hmm. That match was like an hour and some change. Like it was, I mean, you had to sit there and there was a marathon to get through that match, and that's not me saying it was bad in any way. I thought the wrestling was good, but to keep an audience for that length of a match, there was a lot of interesting things that they tried to do. One of was put Kofi Kingston in for Mustafa Ali, and I think if Mustafa Ali was in that match, the match is probably, I don't know, twice as good or whatever. But his story of being the underdog who upsets Daniel Bryan and then, upsets Samoa Joe and then upsets Jeff Hardy, that works for someone like Mustafa Ali. It doesn't work for the guy who was carrying pancakes to the ring.
No, not at all. I don't mind the hour match. It's essentially different matches within an hour, so he had all these different styles. So to me, it flowed really well. I wonder if that Kofi booking was the same booking that Mustafa was going to have, or since they had to put Kofi in, they really wanted to do something to really make him feel special as he goes into his Elimination Chamber, right? Instead of just having him out there to get beat, in the gauntlet match. So I wonder if that was Mustafa's storyline, they were still going to do that originally, or they switched things around to get Kofi hot for this match.
And the thing that bothered me probably the most was Corey Graves yelling and screaming about why you want to win this match, because you want to be the sixth, you want to be the final entrant in the match. And so I really wondered, I was like, how many people have won from that spot? And I mentioned that on Wrestling Observer Radio, and someone tweeted to me, let me find his Twitter handle. Well, I'll read the tweet first, and then we'll find the Twitter handle. So basically, he said that of the 22 chamber matches to date, only 6 have come from that final 6 spot. Most winners, 7, actually came from the 5th spot. 4 winners have entered as 1 or 2: Cena, Punk, Taker, and Edge, and that was the story. So, that's a 27% chance of winning the match if you enter as the 6th thing. But they were just like, Corey Graves was just going crazy about it, and I'm like, this is not something that they generally push, right? Like when you're, in the Royal Rumble, it makes sense that there's 30 guys and you want to be near the end, like the luck of the draw. Like that makes a little bit more sense. But, in this match, they've never really pushed that. And the other thing I didn't like is in the women's match, the matches were all about not losing so you wouldn't be the first 2 entrants in that match. And one of the things that I really liked about the Elimination Chamber back in the day was that it was so random. Like the pods would just light up, and the teams that lit up were the ones that went in, and I thought, and they just take away that drama of the match right away by doing that.
Well, you knew they were going to ruin that drama because they ruined the drama of the Royal Rumble, right? Who's going to be number 1? Who's going to be number 30? Who's going to be number 2? Start off the Rumble as well. Like they've totally ruined that ever since they've had Vince McMahon making someone, you're going to be the first guy to enter the Royal Rumble or something like that, or number 30, you already know who he is. I used to, as a kid, that growing up, that made the Royal Rumble so much fun, is like you just never know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And then same thing, I like the Elimination Chamber. Like you just didn't know who was going to come out next, who was going to be picked, or whose paw was going to open up. And now it's just so they cut out some of the mystery, and I don't know why they do that. The reason why they're doing that because they need some to fill these hours, right? They need something.
Yep.
And so we get this horrible opening match on Raw, which I thought was, I don't want to say horrible, but it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
It was like, and then like, what was up with this crowd on Raw? Did they know they bought tickets to watch pro wrestling, or were they just kind of like decided to just be quiet the whole show? Like I got no energy. Like poor Bobby Roode and Chad Gable and the Revival are going out there busting their ass, going just all out for a good length of time, and the crowd just barely got into it.
Yep.
They started reacting a little bit some of the near falls towards the end, but like I would say about, I don't know, 90% of that match they were just kind of on their hands. I mean, that was a weird crowd.
So just to give credit to the guy on Twitter who sent us that information, his name is Richard Becerra, and he's on Twitter at RBECERRA 21. So go give Richard a follow. He hasn't been on Twitter for that long, so go give him a follow. All right, so I want to just quickly go over the card for Elimination Chamber. It's not a good one. I'm trying to figure out, where is the, because these WWE pay-per-views are so long, like what's, I think that Elimination Chamber match with the SmackDown SmackDown title on the line, that will probably be a really good match. And, it's going to be a long match, so that'll take up some time. And then they have the women in the other chamber, which will be another long match. But I'm not convinced that match is going to be good at all.
Yeah, I think it might be fine. I think they're definitely going to practice it a lot. And I think they'll get they'll have some creative stuff in it. But I'm a little worried about that match. But if they continue to, can it and practice it, I think it'll be fine. I think it might surprise us, honestly. At least that's what I'm hoping for. The men's WWE championship match in the chamber, I think it should be really good with all the people involved. So, and that match should be like 30 minutes plus. And then how long do you think the women are going to get? I'm gonna say about 25 minutes plus, maybe,
So let's see. So you have two teams start in the middle, and then there's 4 increments of 5 minutes. So after 20 minutes, everyone's in the ring.
Yeah.
So it has to go at least 20.
Yeah. I think the women will get like 25.
The men's match may go longer, especially if we get the Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles final 2. I think that match could go a little bit longer.
Yeah, that'd be great. Hopefully, I'm kind of hoping Orton has a good showing. Just kind of get some steam going again with him,
Mm-hmm.
get involved. So,
who do you think wins the? I think most people think it's going to be Bayley and Sasha. I kind of hope that it's Nia Jax and Tamina, only because out of all of those women in that match, Nia Jax is the only one that they protect. And if you want to have tag team champions, you should have, a little bit of protection. Like, I just feel like Sasha and Bayley get it, and it's like, oh, now we're the mid-card of mid-card titles. But at least if it's Nia Jax and Tamina, like, there's a little, they actually push Nia Jax.
Yeah, I can see that. I think Bayley's going to turn on Sasha. So I'm kind of just guessing that's going to happen. I don't think Sasha and Bayley are winning either. I think it's just too obvious. I think it's a good idea to go with Tamina and Nia, because Nia's there's a lot of focus on her, right? So I think they should keep that going, and I think they'll be good together as a team, and being in a team will enhance their strengths and hide their weaknesses.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry.
So The Miz and Shane McMahon face off against the Usos. The Miz and Shane McMahon are like the wackiest team out there.
So crazy.
It's actually kind of fun, and I like the two of them together. And I think we even mentioned this before. Like, I kind of want them to hang around for a little while. Like, I don't want to see them split right away. I think the key to their split is that people are just having so much fun with them as a twosome, kind of like Jericho and Owens. Like, it's coming, but you have so much fun with these guys, and then finally you do it, and you're like, finally, now they did it.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool if they could be champs for a year and it being this great tag team that can really make it work. I know Shane he's very limited. This is all just fun on my end, but I just think it's going to be wrapped up soon, and they'll have a singles match at WrestleMania.
See, and that's the thing that I don't want to see.
I know, but I'm just telling you, it's probably mostly what they're building towards, though.
I could see them facing off against really good tag teams for 6 months, no problem whatsoever. But the second they have a match, I'm like, oh God, this is what I'm not looking forward to.
Is Shane consider still like the general manager of SmackDown?
Who knows?
I mean, I know they dropped that or something.
Well, it's supposed to be. So
Paige,
wait,
right?
it was supposed
But
to
they
be
took her out.
Paige. Yeah, and they had a different title. He and Stephanie had different titles. I forget what their title was, but yeah, like Paige was general manager, and then she moved on, and yeah. So a match that I'm actually looking forward to, and it sounds like they're gonna put on the pre-show, which sucks, is Buddy Murphy against Tozawa.
Yeah, that'll be really good. I mean, unfortunately, no one's gonna. A lot of people won't watch it because I think a lot of people skipped pre-shows. I mean, that's a feeling I get because, man, that's a long time to be watching wrestling.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Especially the same kind of product, you know. So I think a little easier to jump around different kind of styles, but it sucks. I mean, I feel bad for Buddy Murphy. I think he needs more exposure on the main card because he's really good, but. We'll see what happens. Maybe in a few months he'll be, in a different position. So
then Ronda against Ruby Riott. I think this is going to be, basically Ronda in a handicap match against the three women, and then something else with Becky and Charlotte. So I mean, it may be like Ronda against all odds completely in this whole match, but. This is where they have to do something angle wise because Becky and Charlotte are not not wrestling, and Becky or Charlotte specifically said that she's going to be ringside. So we'll see with Becky's suspension what happens.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how they get Charlotte and Becky involved in the match because I mean Charlotte can't be out there trying to screw with Ronda because she wants to have her title shot, right? With Ronda, that's the idea, is to be in this big match with Ronda. So it wouldn't be their best interest to make sure Ronda retains the title.
Yeah.
So maybe they go out there and defend. I don't know. Who knows? I just think Ronda should just blitz Ruby Riott. Like, the girls try to, what's the other? Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan try to attack Ronda in the beginning, but Ronda makes a big comeback. Then there's the match with Ruby Riott, and she ends up just killing her, But
Yep.
That'd be kind of cool, and then have Ronda cut a promo on Becky and Charlotte, and then Becky and Charlotte comes out, and then maybe Becky comes up from out of nowhere through the stands and beats the crap out of Charlotte, grabs a mic, starts cutting promo on Ronda. Here comes all the suits to try to pull her out of the ring. There's Adam Pearce, there's Fit Finlay, there's all the Tom Caster, maybe, I don't know. They're just trying to grab her out of the ring. Got her, pull off Becky. Vince McMahon's like, arrest her. They start doing all that. I mean, I don't know, just have it crazy.
Yeah. I think that not necessarily that match. When Ruby Riott. Who did she have? Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross on Raw. Like you mentioned, the crowd, they were like, it was a cemetery during that match, and it didn't. I don't think Riott looked great. I don't think Cross looked great. It was like one of the few times in wrestling where a match, which is designed to get somebody over, got both of them less over than they were before. It was like weird. Like I was amazed at how at how little it did for either woman.
I mean, that crowd didn't do a lot of matches any favors. They didn't do a lot of segments any favors. Like I think when even Seth came out for his promo, it wasn't that hot for him. They weren't going crazy. Becky's reaction wasn't that big.
Yeah.
I mean, she came out and she's like doing the waving to the three sides of the ring, and I mean, she got nice reaction, but it wasn't like wasn't like that superstar level that we Of course, we were spoiled here, and Stone Cold's reaction, The Rock's reaction, Hulk Hogan's reaction. Like, I mean, she's getting good reaction, but she's not getting that level of reaction. So,
okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. You may have even mentioned this before, but give me your one or two loudest pops that you've ever heard live.
Stone Cold Steve Austin right after he won the WF title for the first time. So that was at 98, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he beat Shawn Michaels WrestleMania, and like soon after he defended the title against Triple H at the San Jose Arena.
So this wasn't even TV.
No, this was a house show. This was just like this was
cow.
nuts. No, the whole arena was sold out, and he wrestled Triple H, and when he hit that stunner, man, like it was nuts. Like, I mean, I can still visualize that stunner. Like, all it was is just camera lights going, boom, 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 looked like fireworks. It was awesome. And then second to that was Uriah Faber at Sacramento, WC show I went to. So that was pretty. He fought. God, who did he fight? Rafael Sensao, and he made his comeback, and it was in Sacramento. And California Love hit, and the crowd was going crazy. On TV, Big Pops. One of the biggest ones I remember is Sting winning the title from Flair at the Baltimore Arena in 1990. Like, the whole crowd was just going crazy when he won the title.
The one that sticks in the back of my mind, actually, the two that stick in the back of my mind are both MMA. Conor McGregor knocking out Chad Mendez. That was loud, and I wouldn't say I was scared for my life, but that arena was a little bonkers after that finish. And the other one would have been Frank Shamrock against Phil Baroni in San Jose. He's basically, Frank is like calling his shot, right? Like he's basically telling Phil that he's going to put him to sleep, and then he puts him to sleep. From a pro wrestling standpoint, I remember Austin SummerSlam 2001 against Kurt Angle. Even though he was technically, I think he was a heel in that match, but I remember that being really loud. And then also WrestleMania 25, so that show sucked. But the thing was, so the night before was at the Hall of Fame, and Austin gives the most rushed speech of all time, right? Like, because that's when they have a clock on those guys, and they're trying to speed it up so that they could cut it for TV. And so everyone is just mega disappointed in that evening. And so the next night, they do the thing where, they introduce all the Hall of Famers, and Austin kind of waves. And then about 10 seconds later, after everyone goes back behind the curtain, the music hits. Boom, he comes down in the four-wheeler, and because everyone was so surprised, the whole crowd just went crazy. Like I was like, man, this is like WrestleMania 17 Austin all over again. He didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, I remember Goldberg too. I saw Goldberg live right after he won the title from Hulk Hogan. They had like a TV taping for Thunder in Oakland at the arena, and he was in the dark against the Giant, and it was pretty loud for his entrance. And then that match was only like a few minutes long, and that was a pretty big pop too for that.
All right, well, let's get back to Elimination Chamber. It shows you how interested we are in this card when we can remember stuff from 20 years ago. Okay, so Bobby Lashley. He has the Intercontinental Championship, which if you had me guess, like if I didn't read that and you had me guess three guys, I would have eventually made it to him, but I didn't even realize he had the belt. Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush against Finn Balor. Can't say that I'm super interested in this match. I'm assuming it is to set up a singles at some point between them, but I'm not sure why Lio Rush is in the match. And then Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin was made no DQ, which will help that match, but still it's not a match I'm necessarily looking forward to either.
Please God, just have that be a quick squash. I mean, I actually, if one of the few guys that will admit they like Baron Corbin, I actually do. I think he gets a lot of flack, but I just think for Braun, he needs something. Just let him go out there and destroy him. Like, you need to get him going again. Like, I think he's kind of, he when he got hurt, really cooled him off. So, in this angle, hasn't really done him any favors. So I think, just go out there, destroy Corbin. And actually, what they should have done, they should have just made this a freaking tag with Kurt Angle and Braun versus Drew and Corbin, and then
Yeah, because Drew and Kurt aren't on this show, at least from what I can tell from the lineup that I have.
Every time I think about this show, I think about Fastlane.
Yeah.
And what do you have to do for that? Like, you could just save Corbin. You could say this match would be perfect for Fastlane.
Yep.
And then you do. Then he leaves us throwing for the Undertaker, like a couple weeks ago. So.
Yes. Okay, so that's just about it for this week's Road to WrestleMania segment. We will continue to do this until the big show. So every week we'll probably lead off with talking where we're going for WrestleMania.